Imagine sitting across from someone who knows every thought crossing your mind right now. Not just your words, your actual thoughts. The doubt you're feeling. The memory that just surfaced. The thing you'd never say out loud. Now imagine that someone isn't a person. It's an AI, and it's not science fiction. Right now, researchers have built AI systems that can decode your thoughts from brain activity with up to 82% accuracy. Welcome to What If AI, where we explore the futures that are already being built in laboratories today. Meet the technology that's rewriting the rules of privacy. In 2023, researchers at the University of Texas at Austin created an AI decoder that translates brain activity into continuous text. They used an fMRI scanner to record brain patterns while people listened to stories, then trained an AI to match those patterns to words. The result? The AI could reconstruct what people were hearing and even what they were imagining with 82% accuracy. But that's just the beginning. Meta, formerly Facebook, has been working on neural interface technology that reads brain signals to type without moving your hands. Neuralink, Elon Musk's brain-computer company, has already implanted chips in human brains that translate neural activity into computer commands. And researchers in Japan have built AI systems that can reconstruct images you're re-looking at just by scanning your brain activity. They showed people photographs, recorded their brain patterns, and the AI generated remarkably accurate recreations of those images. We're not talking about reading simple yes or no responses. We're talking about decoding complex thoughts, visual imagery, inner speech, the entire landscape of your mind. So let's run the simulation. It's 2030. You're sitting in a job interview. The interviewer is wearing sleek glasses, neural reading glasses that use non-invasive sensors to detect electrical activity in your brain. You say you're passionate about the role. The AI detects uncertainty in your prefrontal cortex. You claim you're a team player. The AI flags a spike in your amygdala, the fear center, when the word collaboration is mentioned. You're not lying exactly, but you're not being completely honest either. And the AI knows. The interviewer smiles and says thank you, we'll be in touch. You didn't get the job because your thoughts betrayed you before your words could save you. Now scale this up. Neural reading technology becomes standard in hiring, in security screenings, in courtrooms. Your thoughts become evidence. Your mental privacy becomes a relic of the past. But here's where it gets philosophically disturbing. What even is a thought? When you think I'm hungry, that's clear. But what about the fleeting image that crosses your mind? The half-formed idea you immediately dismiss? The intrusive thought you'd never act on? Current AI decoders can't distinguish between a thought you endorse and a thought that just happens to fire in your neural network. Imagine being judged for every random notion that crosses your consciousness. You're in a meeting and an intrusive thought pops up, something inappropriate or violent or embarrassing. You don't believe it. You don't want it. But it happened in your brain, and the AI recorded it. Are you responsible for thoughts you don't choose? This is the problem of mental privacy. Right now, you have absolute sovereignty over your inner world. You can think anything without consequence, because thoughts are invisible. But once AI can read them, that sovereignty disappears. You become accountable not just for your actions, or even your words, but for the unfiltered chaos of your consciousness. Let's explore the medical miracle scenario. You're a patient with locked-in syndrome, fully conscious but completely paralyzed, unable to speak or move. For years, you've been trapped in your own body. Then doctors fit you with a neural decoder. Suddenly, your thoughts become words on a screen. You can communicate with your family. You can express pain, joy, needs, desires. This technology isn't theoretical. It's already happening. Researchers have given paralyzed patients the ability to type with their thoughts at 90 characters per minute. That's faster than most people type on a phone. For people with severe disabilities, Thought-reading AI isn't dystopian. It's liberation. It's the difference between isolation and connection. But here's the ethical trap. If we develop this technology for medical use, how do we prevent it from being weaponized? How do we ensure it stays in hospitals and doesn't end up in police stations, corporate offices, or government surveillance programs? Now let's talk about the scenario nobody wants to imagine, but everyone needs to consider. Authoritarian thought control. A government mandates neural monitoring for all citizens under the guise of public safety. They say it's to prevent terrorism, to stop crime before it happens. The AI scans for thought patterns associated with dissent, rebellion, anti-government sentiment. You're walking down the street, and you think the leader is corrupt. The AI flags you. You haven't done anything. You haven't said anything. But you thought something, and that's enough. You're detained for pre-crime, arrested for the contents of your mind. This sounds like dystopian fiction, but the technology is real, and the precedent is being set right now. China's social credit system already monitors behavior and online activity. Combine that infrastructure with thought-reading AI, and you have a surveillance state that reaches into the last refuge of human freedom, your own consciousness. And here's the terrifying part. Once the technology exists, the only thing preventing this scenario is policy and ethics. But policies change. Governments change. The technology doesn't go away. But there's another angle that's even more unsettling. What if you wanted AI to read your thoughts? What if it made your life easier? Imagine a world where you never have to type, speak, or gesture. You just think, and your devices respond. You think turn on the lights, and they turn on. You think send a message to mom, and it's sent. You think I'm hungry for pizza, and your phone orders it before you consciously decide. This is the seduction of convenience. Thought-reading AI could eliminate the friction between intention and action. But here's the cost. To work seamlessly, the AI needs constant access to your thoughts. It needs to monitor your brain activity 24/7, learning your patterns, predicting your needs. You're not just giving up privacy. You're outsourcing your decision-making to an algorithm. And once you're dependent on it, can you even function without it? What happens to your ability to think independently when an AI has been finishing your thoughts for years? Here's the existential question that breaks everything. If AI can read your thoughts, are you still you? Your sense of self is built on the assumption that you have an inner world that is completely yours. A space where you can be messy, contradictory, irrational, and nobody knows. But if that space becomes transparent, if every thought is monitored and analyzed, does your sense of identity collapse? Psychologists call this the observer effect. When you know you're being watched, you change your behavior. But what happens when the thing being watched is your thoughts themselves? Do you start policing your own mind? Do you become afraid to think freely? And if you can't think freely, are you still a conscious being with agency, or have you become something else entirely? So here's my question for you. If someone offered you a device right now that could read your thoughts and make your life infinitely more convenient, but it meant giving up the privacy of your own mind forever, would you take it? Because that choice is coming. The technology exists. The only question is whether we'll have the wisdom to use it responsibly, or whether we'll trade the last frontier of human freedom for convenience and control. Drop your answer in the comments. Accept or refuse. And if you want to keep exploring the futures we're building, subscribe to Beyond Algorithm, because your thoughts might not be private much longer.